I'm going to tell you a cock and bull story. There is the bull, and that wasn't gratuitous cocking about. I'm illustrating a point. Fact is, the best comedy often comes from the unexpected and the absurd, and the Lamborghini Lamu 2 delivers. This is a 6,800-pound four-door, four-wheel drive pickup with a V12, a dogleg 5-speed manual. Oh, 20 inches of suspension travel. Oh, my back.
Hey, Dustin, welcome. Oh, yo, there we go. Today is my brother's 11th birthday, and I want you to do the math here. I'm the youngest sibling. So, he was a leap year baby. So we were over at his place for a little birthday dinner, and just got back home and figured it would be a good idea to throw up the stream to maintain the streak. We are at day 70. Let's go. So yeah, I just fired up YouTube, as I do before I go to my page to stream a VOD, and we got new revelations, and then we've also got a video from the Drive Network for the first time in a very long time. So we're gonna check these out before I hop in Gran Turismo 4.
Today, I'm going to tell you a cock and bull story. There is the bull, and that wasn't gratuitous cocking about. I'm illustrating a point. Fact is, the best comedy often comes from the unexpected and the absurd, and the Lamborghini Lamu 2 delivers. This is a 6,800-pound four-door, four-wheel drive pickup with a V12, a dogleg 5-speed manual. Oh, 20 inches of suspension travel. Oh, my back. And it carries 76.6 gallons of gas. The rear bucket seats are bomb, literally, because the base of each seat is a 38-gallon fuel tank. Speaking of bombing, this Lamborghini once made it onto Time magazine's list of the worst cars ever, having nothing to do with the car itself, but because of its, quote, appalling clientele, including Saddam Hussein's son and Tina Turner. Stay tuned for the story behind the most fraudulent, underhanded, sneaky, illicit, illegal, cock and bull plan to make a buck to ever wear a Lamborghini badge. And that is saying something. Eurus.
Here we go.
This video is brought to you by the Haggerty Drivers Club, which includes a subscription to our award-winning magazine, 24/7 flatbed roadside assistance, and far more. Join or get more info at the link below. All of that silliness aside, I don't even know where to begin with the LMO02 story because it's all so insane. So let's start with all of the things you would never expect based on the way it looks. First off, it's absolutely stellar to drive, even and especially on a twisty back road, cornering, as Automobile Magazine said, quote, like a sports car for King Kong. Of course, it does have the widest front tires ever fitted to any production car ever. Those are 345 width, same at the rear. And it also has supercar-style, independent, double wishbone suspension at all four corners. This at a time when other luxury SUVs and trucks like a Range Rover hadn't yet even figured out crappy independent suspension. It has a short-geared close-ratio ZF 5-speed dogleg manual out of an Aston Martin Vantage, and it has one Lamborghini part other than the badges. Taken straight out of the Countach, it's a 5.2-liter quad-cam, 48-valve, 7,000 RPM V12. Early versions like this one sucked through 6 twin-throat Weber carburetors, and it made 3 times the power of the then also new to the US V8-powered Range Rover. The LM did weigh more than 2 Countaches, but its performance was staggering for the day. It beat that brand new Range Rover to 60 miles an hour by 5.5 seconds. 7.7 seconds to 60 and 16 flat through the quarter mile at 86 miles an hour made this not only the quickest truck the world had ever seen, but those numbers were dead nuts, identical to another 4-valve per cylinder, 7,000 RPM hot rod that the magazines had just called a super coupe to be reckoned with. It's that. It's a Scirocco 16-valve. The LM did more.
The Volkswagen Scirocco 16-valve is the benchmark of all automobiles. Signed, Jason Camisa.
Magazines had just called a super coupe to be reckoned with. It's that. It's a Scirocco 16-valve. The LM did more than exactly match the Porsche-beating Volkswagen Scirocco 16-valve's acceleration. Despite weighing literally 3 times as much, it stopped as quickly, too. Once. Because while each of the LM's front wheels had 2 Range Rover 4-piston calipers, they both squeezed the same overworked 13-inch rotor. And the 12-inch drums at the back, the only drums ever fitted to a Lamborghini, would probably be on fire within milliseconds. Still, point is, that Volkswagen Scirocco 16-valve was 1987's hot hatch performance benchmark, and this land yacht could keep up with it in every measure. Much has changed in the last 4 decades, chiefly that cars have gotten so big that the LM02 only looks large. In fact, it's within an inch in length, width, and wheelbase of today's totally normal-sized Land Rover Defender 110. In fact, the Lambo is 4.5 inches shorter in height. The LM's cockpit is gorgeous. It is lined with wood and leather, and genuinely would be perfect for a period Rolls-Royce if space wasn't considered a luxury, because somehow it is tiny in here. The seat is about as narrow as a pair of high-heel shoes. The steering wheel is so close to somehow both your knee and the dashboard that if you did try to turn the steering wheel quickly, it would break your fingers. And then the center console is wide enough to park a Countach on it. The entire truck is full of outrageous contradictions. But if the job of a Lamborghini is to be outrageous, well, the LM might be the most Lamborghini of all Lamborghinis. Especially once you factor in how it all came to be. The early 1970s were not kind to Italian supercar companies. Enzo had just sold half of Ferrari to Fiat in order to stay afloat, and by 1974, Ferruccio sold his entire stake in Lamborghini. A year later, as Countach fever was taking over, the factory was ironically grinding to a halt. The company didn't have enough money to purchase new raw materials to build those new Countaches that people were impatiently waiting for. Lamborghini's new owners, 2 clever Swiss guys, sent technical director Franco Berardini out into the world to find something, anything, to keep the money coming in and the factories buzzing. He came back with not the uno, but the due opportunità, which means 2 opportunities. Is it not clear? One was an agreement to engineer and build a car for BMW Motorsport, the one that we came to know as the M1. Another was a project so outrageous that it reminded him of the Countach. Lamborghini's parts supplier buddy Chrysler introduced Berardini to 2 of its associates from California who were looking for a partner to build their invention. This was a vehicle that they'd cooked up half a decade earlier while working for a company called FMC that was trying to win a very lucrative US government contract to build vehicles for the CSVP, the Combat Support Vehicle Program. The CSVP was a set of specifications for an off-road capable vehicle to replace the aging out M151 Jeep. FMC's proposal was called the XR311, and though there were a bunch of prototypes built, it all went absolutely nowhere, except Tamiya created a scale model RC car out of it. After meeting with Baraldini, Johnson and Ferris signed an agreement to have Lamborghini build their invention. It would give Lamborghini a revenue stream and keep its workers working. More importantly, according to Baraldini, it would, quote, change everything. He had no idea. The two now ex-FMC employees set up a new company called MTI, and at Lamborghini's expense built a prototype in California. It had four-wheel drive, a fiberglass body, a rear-mounted waterproofed Chrysler V8, and Lamborghini badges. They shipped it to Italy, Lamborghini dragged it to the 1977 Geneva Motor Show and christened it the Lamborghini Cheetah. It made quite the stir, not just because what the hell was it doing on the Lamborghini stand, not just because it was really cool, and not just because the brochures were printed only in Arabic. Lamborghini's Swiss owners had connections in the Middle East and thought they too might be interested in the truck. But nobody was more interested than FMC, which took one look at the Cheetah and realized it amounted to little more than intellectual property theft on the part of two of its ex-employees and therefore Lamborghini. And FMC sued. But Tamiya once again recognized cool when it saw it and made an RC car out of the Cheetah too. But Lamborghini terminated its relationship with MTI and shipped the Cheetah back to the US. This would have been a huge embarrassment for Lamborghini if it weren't for what came next. Lamborghini got a $1 million loan from the Italian government to help set up production facilities for the BMW M1, which would have saved the company. Instead, it diverted those funds into reverse engineering the Cheetah to try to sell it. And guess what? Didn't work. Not only was the rear-engined off-roader dead for the third time, but the money for the M1 was gone, and so the BMW project was dead too, and Lamborghini was bankrupt and shamed. BMW shows up in the middle of the night, breaks in, and steals its parts, prototypes, and tooling. You can learn more about that in our wonderful episode of Revelations on the BMW M1. The Italian court takes control over Lamborghini in receivership, and it does whatever it can to keep the factory alive, including spitting out 5,000 off-road versions of the Fiat 127 called the or Rustica, as it's pronounced in Italian. But like any movie villain, this thing wasn't nearly as dead as you'd think. A couple years later, the Saudi Border Patrol comes knocking and says, hey, remember that SUV? We're interested. And then Kuwait says, we'd like to order 3,000 of them PDQ. Turns out, those Swiss guys had been pretty smart to print the brochures in Arabic. The next year, Lamborghini is put under the control of a 24-year-old Patrick Mimran. 20-somethings in charge at Lamborghini is a common theme. Remember that the entire crew who invented the supercar 15 years earlier were also in their 20s. And Mimran, a fetus, of course thought the badass off-roader was cool AF. He'd probably seen this photo, so he starts development back up. Enter the LM001, LM for Lamborghini Military, one for its first in-house design. Except actually it wasn't in-house, it was yet another copy of the FMC design, just made much closer to new specs from the US military. In the intervening years, the US government canceled that old CSVP program, the Jeep replacement, and in its place issued a contract proposal for $1.3 billion worth of Humvees. High mobility, multi-purpose wheeled vehicle. The LM001 still had the engine in the back, but this time it was an AMC V8 because Mimran's family had ties with Renault, AMC's owner. In testing climbing a steep sand dune, famed Lamborghini test driver Valentino Balboni rolled one front over back at low speed. Well, that finally ended the rear-engine mistake. Lamborghini threw out the stolen FMC MTI Cheetah design, moved the engine up front, re-engineered the whole thing, and created the LMA, Lamborghini Militaria Anteriore, or front. And up anteriore was finally a Lamborghini V12. The LMA proved unstoppable in tests conducted by Middle Eastern governments. It was the only submission that aced every single test, easily beating out the entrants from Toyota and Land Rover. And so, Lamborghini was so convinced that Kuwait was about to place that 3,000 unit order that it went ahead and pre-ordered 300 component sets. That was a big mistake.
So, I just find it kind of hard to believe that it passed all those tests with a V12. Like you would think the V12 would be like the least appropriate engine layout for a utilitarian, like purpose-built, serviceable, bulletproof military vehicle. Like V12 seems like the absolute last choice. So it's so strange to me that it would have aced all the tests. Maybe they made it particularly serviceable, but I mean, I don't. As far as I know, the Countach V12 isn't super serviceable, and maybe that's just because of the engine bay that it's crammed into. But I don't know. Maybe we'll elaborate here. Let's see.
War had broken out once again in the Middle East, and the government stopped messing about. To quote car and driver, expecting a squad of dropout draftees to field service 6 Webers and a 4-cam V12
Thank you.
would be like entrusting the Botswana Air Force with a space shuttle. Offensive, not all draftees are dropouts. Anyway, the LMA was dead once again, and the company was in trouble. Except it wasn't, and it wasn't. Chairman Mimran, now 25 years old, lined the LMA with wood and leather, dragged it to the 1982 Monaco Grand Prix to be seen by the Monegasque jet set and photographed by Playboy and Penthouse. Everybody wanted in. After building one prototype with a 7.3-liter version of Lamborghini's other V12, a Marine unit, for production they settled on the new 5.2-liter Quattro Valvole from the Countach. It made 30 more horsepower and weighed far less anyway. It was nicknamed LM002 by the press, a name that stuck. Its customers included royalty, Formula One drivers, Malcolm Forbes, Sylvester Stallone, the Sultan of Brunei, who had a wagon made out of his, and years later, one Miss Tina Turner, who had a wagon.
That's dope. You just kind of like skimmed over that real quick. I wonder if that's the only one. That's friggin' insane.
Made out of his, and years later, one Miss Tina Turner.
Congratulations. You're the first to survive the audition.
Who couldn't see over the dashboard thanks to those 2 enormous intake humps. And Tina didn't like to drive a stick shift. In this case, I can't blame her, because Tina was known for her amazing legs, and if she had to deal with this clutch every day, her left leg would have been twice the size of her right. Turns out, Tina Turner didn't need another hero. She needed an automatic and smaller intakes. So she had the engine and slush box from a wrecked Mercedes 500E swapped into hers. And by the way, it still hit 62 in 8.8 seconds and did 127 miles an hour. I know this is a total sidebar, but it was too cool not to talk about. All right, now back to the main story. For the record, MTI wound up selling the Cheetah to Teledyne Continental Motors, where it went up against 2 other Humvee candidates, one from Chrysler and one from AM General, who used to make the M151 Jeep that went out of production that started this whole mess. And the AM General design won the Humvee contract. They produced 281,000 units. Lamborghini made just 301 LMs. And for sure, we know one of them no longer exists because the US military blew up Saddam's kids' blue one. They probably didn't even know what it was. Nobody knows what this thing is, except you, because you now know everything there is to know about the most Lamborghini to ever Lamborghini.
A Hummer racing game for the PS2. So I looked for a thing. I don't know if I found it. I don't know. I might not spoil it because I haven't found it yet. I might not spoil it because I do want to share it on screen. There's an old PS2 game that does have Hummers in it, I believe, and I would like to stream it, but we'll have to see if I can find it. Hummer Badlands. Oh, okay. Oh, there's another game that comes to mind too. Okay, hang on. We're gonna go back to this scene. I'm gonna throw this up, and I'm gonna search for something.
Oh, hi. It's been a while, hasn't it? You may be wondering, who the is this guy, and what is the drive doing back in my feed after vanishing from YouTube for years? What happened? It's a long story. I'm Kyle Taromka, editor-in-chief of thedrive.com. You know, the website with the stories that you read. No, it's okay. I'm here to tell you that The Drive is coming back to YouTube. We're back, running it back. One of the original car channels is here again with the same mission to celebrate the culture of cars and take you places you've never been. It's wild, honestly, and our first new video drops tomorrow. So before we go any further, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications, and get ready. But before I tell you what we're up to now, I don't see how you're gonna take any of this seriously if we don't address what happened with the channel. Like you, I was a viewer from the beginning, completely enraptured as Spinelli and Harris, and Farah and Musto and JF and Leo and Alex and all these guys making just the coolest car videos I'd ever seen on the
I found them. We might not be playing GT4 tonight. We might be doing something else.
internet, all with this passion that was just missing from everywhere else. And then like you, I watched it all just kind of fade away. Also, why did we change our name from Drive to The Drive? Well, the answer is messy. Actually, it's a little too complicated to wrap up in a video like this. So here's what we're doing. I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version now, and then we've got an article with the full story, all the gory details linked in the video description below, so make sure to check that out too. So you can break down our channel's history into 3 parts. You've got our golden era, from our launch in 2012 as an independent outfit to our eventual sale to Time Inc., remember those guys, in 2015. Then you've got the decline, the Great Strangulation, our adventure in corporate media, the we gotta make some money period. Whatever you want to call it, that lasted from 2016 to about 2019. And then from 2020 to today, the big sleep. But back to our golden era for a second. What I think a lot of people don't know is that the Drive wouldn't exist without YouTube. And I don't mean that because YouTube was our platform. I mean that because YouTube literally funded the launch of this channel. Back then, YouTube wasn't the platform it is today. They were desperate for original content, and they were throwing millions of dollars at creators with a vision to make it happen. Our founder and executive producer, JF Musial, was one of those guys. Right place, right time, right connections, right skills to make the kind of car videos he always wanted to see. And he did, with a group of incredible hosts, and I mean truly, once-in-a-generation talent. Drive Network, as it was called then, grew into an absolute force. Shows like After Drive and Tuned and Big Muscle and Chris Harris on Cars hooked millions of viewers. It was an incredible run. But like all runs, it came to an end. It was a perfect storm, really. So 2015, the YouTube money's drying up. We pissed a lot of people off with an early paid subscription attempt that did not land at all. And on top of that, things were getting, shall we say, chaotic with a former business partner of ours named Emil Rensing. Emil was a media executive, he was a part owner in the channel, and he was instrumental in landing that first deal with YouTube. Turns out he was also embezzling millions of dollars from his day job at the same time, and ended up going to prison for that shortly thereafter. But that's a much, much, much longer story. What matters for us is that things were getting messy, and at that point, JF and the group decided to explore a sale. Eventually, we ended up at Time Inc., who had no clue what they had just bought, honestly. I mean, they had this half-baked scheme to turn the brand into a digital car magazine and pretty much zero interest in YouTube. So we launched thedrive.com, made that the whole brand. We managed to produce one more year of that delicious old school Drive content, and then it all just kind of came to an end. Spinelli and a small video team did the best they could to keep it going. Time Inc. gave us absolutely no support whatsoever, and that was kind of that. Then in 2018, Time Inc. itself was bought out by another publishing giant. And they too had no interest in YouTube, or cars for that matter. So 9 months later, they turned around and sold us to a group of private investors. Finally, after all that time, we were independent again. We were ready to control our own destiny. We had these grand plans to relaunch the channel at the beginning of 2020 with a big splash and dive right back in, picked up where we left off. And then everything in the world went sideways. So that brings us to today. Now, the Drive's original ethos was to celebrate the culture of cars, take you as an enthusiast to places you've never been. But today, in 2024, it feels less and less like car culture is defined by new cars in the automotive industry. I mean, cars today are so different than what they were even a decade ago. It feels like car culture is way more about the enthusiasts on the ground making it happen. Take this beautiful 1988 Mercedes SL behind me. Now, the 2024 SL, sure, it's a cool car, it's really powerful, it's got lots of tech, but it's not this. This hits different. This you feel a connection with in a way that you just don't with new cars. And that's really what we're going to be leaning into with the channel now. That's the thinking behind our first video series we're calling Charisma. Profiling an enthusiast in their car, exploring the connection between person and machine, and the passion that introduces.
Well, I think I'm a richer 17-year-old. We're doing the same things we were doing when we were teenagers. We're just doing it with nicer and bigger toys.
Like, no, I watch that guy turn that piece of chassis into something amazing with his own hands. I think that's cool. I think that's really exciting, and I want to be like that.
I find my car to be an extension of myself, and it's just a way to make that possible.
The car world is tribal, right? We all have our people, we all have the things we like. But what we really want to show is that set aside the wildly different backgrounds, the different tastes, the different approaches, we're all the same obsessive fools underneath it all. We all love the same things about our cars. There is a common thread there that just gets lost today. We really want to dive into that. So we're also going to be bringing you a series exploring some of the coolest, craziest, most interesting, weirdest, just out and out fascinating stories from the past and present of cars and transportation. Things like that time GM screwed Saddam Hussein by selling him a bunch of terrible Chevy Malibus. Or the time an F1 team put a $250,000 diamond on the nose of a car in the Monaco Grand Prix and then lost it in a crash. Or the time the US came close, and I mean closer than you can imagine, to building a new Route 66 through the American West with a bunch of nuclear bombs. At the end of the day, it's gonna be about how much we all love cars, just like it's always been. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna be publishing a video a week from here on out, and I really hope you'll give us a chance to be that conduit for your passions again. That's enough of me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, so I had thought I'd found them, but they were not. They were like different file types. I need ISOs, and they were like bin and queue files. I don't know exactly what to do with those. What I do know is that I need ISOs. So, or I'm pretty sure I do. I don't know if I can even use the files. Everything else I have is ISOs, so I'm assuming I'm just gonna stick with that. I did find another source for them. I'm just waiting for the first one to complete. We can verify whether or not it's actually an ISO. Convert it. I'm just gonna do this for a second. And if it's the same, yeah, then maybe we will get a but if this download is complete now, is an ISO, that, no. Nope, it's been in queue. Okay, so how do I do this? Convert bin in queue to ISO. Bin to ISO. It's 116 kilobytes. Seems like it's a pretty basic operation. Okay. Screen share. In. So. Source. Oh, I have to extract it first. Oh, if you were to fire it up on the PS2, that's what you need. Happened. Why did it disappear? Whoops. Source. Target. What? Why? What's happening? What is happening? Open target file. I don't understand. What do you want? I don't understand what it wants. Target. Maybe I just have to pick a different folder. Here. Put it here. What the fuck? I just want to fucking. Alright, we're playing Gran Turismo 4. That's where I'm at. Fucking let's get on with it. I'll figure that shit out later. Yeah, there must be a better tool out there. That one was 116 kilobytes and clearly broken. So yeah, I'll figure it out off stream, and I'll get them all prepared for when I do fire up the stream. They'll be ready to go. Just gonna verify here that I did indeed save the game. I'm sure I did. Right. Yeah, I just did the first two, right? That tool was #1 on the list you found? LMAO. I mean, maybe I'm using it wrong. I don't know. Maybe I need to restart my computer or something. Who knows? Could just be some random little issue. Maybe I need to run it as an administrator, or run it in compatibility mode. It does look old. Maybe I have to run it in compatibility mode for like XP or something. I did see a Google search that said something, was asking the question, can I convert with this program on Windows 11? I'm on Windows 10. Not sure if it matters either way. Emulator is not happy with this track. This thing's got really good brakes. Yeah, no, I'm on Windows 10. Older PC like you. Yeah, it's old enough now, I guess. i5 6600K. Which, now that I realize it being a K, I should overclock it if my motherboard will allow it. And then just 16 gigs of, I don't know, some random RAM. I don't think it's anything special. And 1066 gig. She gets the job done. Yeah, that was a terrible lap. We got a lot of work to do. Oh, all right. Okay. 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 Yeah, man, time is flying. Okay. This thing is a bit tricky on the edge. It's hard to push. It does have good brakes, but like, that means it's difficult to maintain speed during the corners. I'm trying to brake as little as possible. Like, I feel like I could just follow, or I could have went through there with so much more speed, and then the second corner like kind of creeps up on you, and if you brake too late, it understeers a lot. So the brakes are good, you just have to use them appropriately. Okay, that felt better. Wait, there's way more time to be gained there. That's probably not fast. Still a lot of fucking time to gain. 3 seconds we need to find. That's 3/10. That's probably not it. Let's just bank it. Oh, I shouldn't have banked it. Holy fuck, that was barely a gain in the end. Okay, so we're saving. We're save stating on the second sector here. If I get a half decent run here. It's just in a kind of weird spot. That's why I didn't want to save state there, but it's okay. It's good enough. curious. That might actually just be the answer. Not quite. Nope. Nope. Oh my god, we still have a bunch of time to find. Okay, we're gonna bank that. Try again. That didn't seem too hot. Damn. Shit. That was fucking dumb. No, just retry. Come on. Damn it. It's fucking hard to nail that section down, man. Slow as fuck. Come on. Man, is there a wall ride here? Let's try all the wall rides. That's probably a big one. Okay. Let's drive normally and do that one and drive normally for the rest. See what happens. Ah, shit. Why did I brake there? Fuck, that was dumb. So, super dumb. It felt easier to execute after this wall ride. No. Just to kind of put me in a better position. I would like to get this one, maybe just hit it slower. A little too much brake there, I just wasn't sure because of the angle. Nah, it's slow as fuck. Up. Barely. That might be big. This might be big too, actually, now that I think about it. It's a second. Wheel, stay in a straight fucking line, please. What are you doing? Oh, if I keep that second, I'm on pace for gold. We need to 24 and a half. 3, 4, 490. Let's go. Let's go. Alright. I think I'm at the level where I'm gonna do one more and then probably call it a night. Sick. This is such a good car, man. Like, it's almost too good. I'm hitting the inside apexes too hard. That was not under my control, unfortunately. I was just praising the car, but braking under high speed does make it unstable and oversteer. Which I didn't feel at all in the first corner, but later on it becomes apparent. Okay, I just need to get a baseline lap in, and then we can start working on the sectors. I just need to put a lap together and we can work on the sectors. For fuck's sake, man. I was just praising how good this car is and now I can't drive it. I'm getting more and more confident, and then I start pushing it, and then I mess up. And I need to just not push it. I need to just put a lap together. It's the first lap. It does not like those tracks. Okay. We got a silver time in. We need to find what? 3 seconds, basically. Okay, well, there's a second and a half right there. And there's all of it bled away. Come on. Getting a little bit wild there. 2 seconds, okay. Really awkward spot for a fucking checkpoint. Let's bank it. We need to find 5/10. Should have just smashed into the wall. Would have been faster. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, for crying out loud. Damn it. Hello? Garbage. Fucking garbage. Come on. There it is. Okay. This is it. This is the gold run. Not if I do that stupid shit. I wonder if it's still good. Nah, fuck it. Just don't drive like an idiot, and you secure the win. Alright, 2 more golds in the books. And I'm going to call it a stream. Thanks for coming out, Dustin. Appreciate you. And let's see what we're at. $48 golds, 32 silvers. And we still got to get the win ratio to 69%. But yeah, we'll save that and continue on the next one. Be easy, Dustin. Thanks for popping out. And I will catch you in the next one. Later, bro.